Hello, how are you feeling today? Um, this one's called Be Real. Um, and how to be real, in a world of a lot of fake shit, to be frank with you. Just the world of social media and where it is now, 2023. Um, yeah, a lot of fake shit, a lot of people presenting and putting on a mask. And it just becomes more and more obvious the more you actually know yourself, the more real that you are. It's very obvious to see. Um, but a cool way to start this one would be like, what is real? You know, like what actually is real? Because what we all experience here in this 3D, this third dimension, is what our senses perceive, like seeing, touching, tasting, hearing, and smelling, is one of infinite frequencies that could, or that does, not could, that coexists simultaneously. So we're only experiencing one of infinite frequencies right now that we refer to as reality. And what reality is a reflection of what's happening inside of us, how we fundamentally feel. Like, how do you fundamentally feel about whatever, about relationships, um, your health, your fitness, and your mindset? How do you feel about money? And it's cool because you get to see it. It's a mirror. You get to see it instantaneously. You get to see it now. So, what is real? How do you be real? You have to ask yourself, who am I? To start there. Because how do you know how to be real if you don't really know who you are? For me, it's literally 3 years ago when I really woke up to myself. And that was through COVID, through that global pandemic. Before that, I was living on thoughts of other people's thoughts about what I should do. Like every single job that I did leading up to 2020 was on the back of somebody else's thoughts, like what they were doing. So my friends, what they were doing, um, people in my vicinity. I would just, I would just imitate. I wouldn't have that confidence in actually knowing what I truly want because I never really asked myself. I was always in the habit of just not trusting myself and just doing whatever was presented in front of me, um, you know, through other people, through friends, family members, these ideas that just came of what I could do. And, that started with finishing high school. When I finished high school for 6 months there, I sat around the house and I didn't do much at all. I was very much into music, so I was playing a lot of music, but I was pretty much a bum. And my dad would ask me a few times a week, "Hey, are you looking for a job? Have you found anything?" I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. And yeah, it started. A good friend of mine, Spagsy, was working at Coles, and he was working in the deli section. And um, that's when I got a job at Coles. I worked in the bakery, which is pretty cool actually. Like, especially Saturday mornings, I'd be working pretty early and I'd be hungover as fuck. I'd come in and my little hangover cure would be fresh cinnamon donuts because we'd make them and a can of Coke. And that was awesome. Had a good time. But yeah, that was just one. That was the first job that I ever really did. Um, after high school, And the next job was working at a music store, Sanity, selling music CDs. Um, and again, that was on the back of a friend's thought. Like a friend of mine, his brother used to work there, and so I thought, oh yeah, I could work there. Um, you know, and it just goes like that. It literally goes like that all the way until 2020, until I actually was forced to slow down, to stop, and yeah, I'd say go inside. Really ask myself, what do I want to do? And I guess really one of the first times where I trusted myself, or trusted my intuition, trusted my heart, which is pretty sad to say, but it's a reality. Like, it took me till I was 33 till I really stepped into trusting myself, um, and really finding out who I am, what I am. Yeah, it took a global pandemic. Um, and so, like, I had this feeling inside of me. I just knew, I had a knowing that I wasn't gonna get the vax. And at the time, my wife was pregnant with our third daughter as well. Um, I was deep into the knowledge of, this is fucking bullshit. um, but also my heart just knew that wasn't the direction I was going to go, and that was the catalyst of really stepping into my truth, because I felt like, well, I knew that I had no idea what the fuck I was going to do. And, the restrictions that came in 2022, at the start of 2022, January 1st, you needed to have a vaccine to work, like anywhere in West Australia, pretty much anywhere. And that was the great unknown for me, because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have security, which I thought I needed. Safety and security, that's always in my the forefront of my mind, because I'm thinking, I've got three girls, I've got two girls, another one on the way, sorry, and my wife, we've got a house we're renting. There's all these 3D um, things that we've got to you know pay for. What the fuck am I going to do? And that was through going through that was when shit got real for me. And that's when I really found myself. you know I was on like a bit of a self-help journey before that. I was just deep into information, and just reading book after book, and absorbing all this information. It's beautiful. um, yeah, but then it got to a point to 2020 where I actually just was forced to slow down, to actually follow my heart. Well, I wasn't forced. That's the decision that I made, was to go against the traffic, go against the flow of how life has been my entire life, the matrix, what everyone else is doing. Just stop what everyone else is doing, stop doing what everyone else is doing, and actually turn around and, I guess, find your own way. So to really know yourself, you really need to go inside, which means slow down, stop what you're doing, and start to look at your life with attention pointing on you, inside of you, right? So, like, what are some things that trigger you? Start bringing your attention into that. Like, it's interesting that you're feeling a certain way when someone says something, because the reality is everything in its core is neutral. It's just our perception, our mind, our identity that we've created, that latches onto certain things because we're attaching an emotion to it. We're we're entering a thought. And as you start to just go inside and start to witness things that trigger you, also asking yourself what makes you happy. What do you want to do? They're quite important questions to ask yourself, because you don't want to get to the end of your life and realize that you've just lived a life that is someone else's, on the back of someone else's thoughts. Get to the end of your life and you're like, wow, what the fuck was the point of all of this? Really, like, asking yourself. There's some questions that you need to ask yourself to truly realize who you are, what you are, what makes you happy, what triggers you. It'd be beneficial to write it down, to see it. And this is what I went through in 2020 when I was 33 years of age. It took a global pandemic for me to wake the fuck up, but I'm here. And everyone finds it the way they find it. There's no one straight path. Like, you do this, you make sure you meditate every day, and you make sure that you do yoga, or you have to do an ayahuasca ceremony, or it comes through multiple different ways. It's finding out what works for you. That's the true dance, and it's through trial and error. It's through actually working that out for yourself. Like, you have the answers inside of you. It's now up to you to actually find that out for you, for yourself, to find your true self, to find what is real. Because you can always find somebody that they're doing it their way and just attach onto that, like I have for many years. But you'll find sooner or later that they don't actually know what the fuck they're doing either. They have a belief, they have a fundamental belief of the way of life for them, and that's working for them, right? And so the same thing is for you. It's now unraveling these beliefs of what you've created through your identity, through your experience, through your parents, through your cultural upbringing, through the surroundings, through life experience, and realizing all those beliefs that you feel are solid are not. That comes through going inside, however you go inside. For me, meditation, sitting still, and witnessing the thoughts coming up. There's many modalities. But yeah, be real. So how to be real? Well, first you got to find yourself. And when you find yourself, being real is effortless. It's a full expression of how you are now, with no mask, no filter, and not trying to get anything out of it other than just sharing your truth, which is how you feel. And there is no greater freedom in fully expressing yourself. Honestly, with no attachment to wanting to be felt a certain way, like the moments that we put on masks, and it's an unconscious act as well, that we're putting on these masks around certain people. Like, I behave like this, like my good friend the Big Eagle. I can't be spiritual around him, because he's going to call me a pussy, so I'm going to behave like this. I'm in the gym, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm back home with the family. Okay, now I've got to put the family hat on. But realizing all those different separate areas of our life are not separate. It's just we've created this identity of different roles that we play in different areas. But wouldn't it be freeing to just be you in each of these areas, to actually fully express yourself and not worry about the thoughts about other people's thoughts, because that's the one thing that will stop you from fully expressing yourself. And for me, it comes through this experience. right? Of putting myself out here, the world, and expressing whatever's going on through reels on social media, through podcasting, through conversations on Zoom calls, countless ones, coaching calls. Um, it's by putting yourself into the unknown that you really truly get to see who you are as well. So I'd say step one would be actually spend time by yourself and realize what you are, like your triggers, what makes you happy, what makes your heart sing, and there's certain people that that will light you up as well. Certain people that your energy will just be drawn to. So surround yourself with those people. Realize the others that are not quite the same, and just turn down the volume on them in terms of you don't have to see them every day. So it's your environment that you are cultivating that will allow you to grow and allow you to experience life. So why not cultivate an environment that is conducive of flow, of love, of life, of fulfillment, of purpose? That'll be step one, right? Step two would be actually moving in the moment. So for me, it's expression through social media. It's a beautiful channel, a blessing and a curse. However, it's just a belief that you experience that makes it so, right? I know lots of people who don't want to be on social media and want to get away from the phone, and I understand that. In terms of the phone can make me frustrated when I'm on it too much, but it comes back to the intention when I'm using social media. Am I aware of the way that I'm on social media, or am I just unconsciously scrolling? And that's when I feel frustrated. That's when it's really obvious. So my movement is just putting myself out there on social media, like reels, videos, podcasting, or whatever, and just witnessing what comes up for me. Because very obvious one is like the analytics and how much like my mind wants things to be a certain way of like, you should do this video, or maybe you should delete it because it's not getting the response that you desire. All these sort of thoughts that would previously stop me from taking action are now being witnessed, and it's not like they just go away. You think you're doing this work, and you think you're meditating, you're doing all this internal work, and everything's just rainbows and butterflies. But now it's a witnessing of when it's not the case. Like, am I losing myself? Am I losing my life in that? Because that's what we can do, is we can get in the habit of losing ourselves in the way that we feel, and we can lose our whole life doing that. It never goes away. It's just now that you are more aware of yourself, you can detach from those emotions. So you can create a bit of space between you and your thoughts. And that is, in essence, that's the secret. That's the key to be real. The world needs you to be real, because you are the world. And there's so much beauty that you have, that you can give, that you can offer this world, the people around you. And you deserve it. To find out who you truly are in this lifetime, you deserve that. That's why it's so important to give yourself that time, because you can think about you can get into thought about you being selfish, but wouldn't your loved ones, wouldn't everyone around you deserve the best version of you, your truth? That's only going to happen as you start to prioritize yourself and go inside, go internal. How can you give to others if you haven't given to yourself? If you haven't filled up your cup, right? You have to fill up your cup so it's overflowing. Otherwise, you're just going to rob yourself of energy, of life, force. All right, be real, be you. The world needs you. And I think we're going to end it there. I don't know what was said there, but I guess it was meant to be said. Much love to you. Have a beautiful day. Bloody love ya. Bye bye.